Hi there, this is marketing planning, and still I'm your teacher, Dr. Wang. And today we're going to learn chapter 9. And it's so fast. We have only 2 chapters left, including this one. And this class, we are going to learn about new product development. And since we already know what is marketing and the marketing process or strategies, now it is the core of every company and also the core of every marketing activity, the product. And at first, I would like to share a story that you may already knew. We all know that Westworld movement in the USA. And along with this movement, there was a gold fever in California. So many people rushed to be there and hoped to dig their own first pot of gold. And at the beginning, quite a lot of people got wealthy just because of gold mining. But soon later, the gold mine just got too many gold diggers, and it was more difficult for people to get wealthy suddenly. But there was a young man who found another opportunity. It was very hot and dry when digging the gold, so he stopped struggling with others digging gold. Instead, he began to sell water to those diggers. And surely he made himself the first pot of gold. So sharing this story with you, I would like you to think about why can this young man make money successfully, and the theory behind this story. And the bankruptcy of Kodak, we've mentioned this for a lot of times. So it is a typical example of how old product cannot meet with the new requirement from the huge technological change. And here is another example, but a positive one, iPhone. Here I would like to show you a small footage about the introduction of the first iPhone.
This is a day I've been looking forward to for 2.5 years. Every once in a while, a revolutionary product comes along that changes everything. And Apple has been, well, first of all, one's very fortunate if you get to work on just one of these in your career. Apple's been very fortunate. It's been able to introduce a few of these into the world. In 1984, we introduced the Macintosh. It didn't just change Apple, it changed the whole computer industry. In 2001, we introduced the first iPod. And it didn't just change the way we all listen to music. It changed the entire music industry. Well, today, we're introducing 3 revolutionary products of this class. The first one is a widescreen iPod with touch controls. The second is a revolutionary mobile phone. And the third is a breakthrough internet communications device. So, 3 things: a widescreen iPod with touch controls, a revolutionary mobile phone, and a breakthrough internet communications device. An iPod, a phone, and an internet communicator. An iPod, a phone. Are you getting it? These are not 3 separate devices. This is one device. And we are calling it iPhone. Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone. And here it is. No. Actually, here it is, but we're going to leave it there for now. So, before we get into it, let me talk about a category of things. The most advanced phones are called smartphones, so they say. And they typically combine a phone plus some email capability, plus they say it's the internet, sort of the baby internet, into one device, and they all have these plastic little keyboards on them. And the problem is that they're not so smart, and they're not so easy to use. So if you kind of make a Business School 101 graph of the smart axis and the easy-to-use axis, regular cell phones are kind of right there. They're not so smart, and they're not so easy to use. But smartphones are definitely a little smarter, but they actually are harder to use. They're really complicated. Just for the basic stuff, people have a hard time figuring out how to use them. Well, we don't want to do either one of these things. What we want to do is make a leapfrog product that is way smarter than any mobile device has ever been and super easy to use. This is what iPhone is. Okay? So, we're going to reinvent the phone. Now, we're going to start with a revolutionary user interface. Is the result of years of research and development. And, of course, it's an interplay of hardware and software. Now, why do we need a revolutionary user interface? I mean, here's 4 smartphones, right? Motorola Q, the BlackBerry, Palm Treo, Nokia E62, the usual suspects. And what's wrong with their user interfaces? Well, the problem with them is really sort of in the bottom 40 there. It's this stuff right here. They all have these keyboards that are there whether you need them or not to be there. And they all have these control buttons that are fixed in plastic and are the same for every application. Well, every application wants a slightly different user interface, a slightly optimized set of buttons just for it. And what happens if you think of a great idea 6 months from now? You can't run around and add a button to these things. They're already shipped. So what do? It doesn't work because the buttons and the controls can't change. They can't change for each application, and they can't change down the road if you think of another great idea you want to add to this product. Well, how do you solve this? It turns out we have solved it. We solved it in computers 20 years ago. We solved it with a bitmap screen that could display anything we want, put any user interface up, and a pointing device. We solved it with the mouse, right? We solved this problem. So how are we going to take this to a mobile device? Well, what we're going to do is get rid of all these buttons and just make a giant screen. A giant screen. Now, how are we going to communicate this? We don't want to carry around a mouse, right? So what are we going to do? Oh, a stylus, right? We're going to use a stylus. No. Who wants a stylus? You have to get them and put them away and you lose them. Yuck. Nobody wants a stylus. So let's not use a stylus. We're going to use the best pointing device in the world. We're going to use a pointing device that we're all born with. We're born with 10 of them. We're going to use our fingers. We're going to touch this with our fingers. And we have invented a new technology called multi-touch, which is phenomenal. It works like magic. You don't need a stylus. It's far more accurate than any touch display that's ever been shipped. It ignores unintended touches. It's super smart. You can do multi-finger gestures on it. And boy, have we patented it. So, we've been very lucky to have brought a few revolutionary user interfaces to the market in our time. First was the mouse. The second was the click wheel. And now we're going to bring multi-touch to the market. And each of these revolutionary user interfaces has made possible a revolutionary product. The Mac, the iPod, and now the iPhone. So, a revolutionary user interface. We're going to build on top of that with software. Now, software on mobile phones is like baby software. It's not so powerful. And today, we're going to show you a software breakthrough. Software that's at least 5 years ahead of what's on any other phone. Now, how do we do this? Well, we start with a strong foundation. iPhone runs OS X. Now, why would we want to run such a sophisticated operating system on a mobile device? Well, because it's got everything we need. It's got multitasking. It's got the best networking. It already knows how to power manage. We've been doing this on mobile computers for years. It's got awesome security and the right apps. It's got everything from Cocoa and the graphics, and it's got core animation built in, and it's got the audio and video that OS X is famous for. It's got all the stuff we want, and it's built right in to iPhone. And that has let us create desktop-class applications and networking, right? Not the crippled stuff that you find on most phones. This is real desktop-class applications. Now, you know, one of the pioneers of our industry, Alan Kay, has had a lot of great quotes throughout the years. And I ran across one of them recently that explains how we look at this, explains why we go about doing things the way we do, because we love software. And here's the quote. People who are really serious about software should make their own hardware. You know? Alan said this 30 years ago. And this is how we feel about it. And so we're bringing breakthrough software to a mobile device for the first time. It's 5 years ahead of anything on any other phone. The second thing we're doing is we're learning from the iPod, syncing with iTunes. You know, we're going to ship our 100 millionth iPod this year, and that's tens of millions of people that know how to sync these devices with their PCs or Mac and sync all of their media right onto their iPod, right? So you just drop your iPod in, and it automatically syncs. You're going to do the same thing with iPhone. It automatically syncs to your PC or Mac right through iTunes. And iTunes is going to sync all your media onto your iPhone, your music, your audiobooks, podcasts, movies, TV shows, music videos. But it also syncs a ton of data. Your contacts, your calendars, and your photos, which you can get on your iPod today, your notes, your bookmarks from your web browser, your email accounts, your whole email setup, all that stuff can be moved over to iPhone completely automatically. It's really nice. And we do it through iTunes. Again, you go to iTunes and you set it up, just like you'd set up an iPod or an Apple TV. And you set up what you want synced to your iPhone. And it's just like an iPod. Charge and sync. So sync with iTunes. Third thing I want to talk about a little is design. We've designed something wonderful for your hand. Just wonderful. And this is what it looks like. It's got a 3.5-inch screen on it. It's really big. And it's the highest resolution screen we've ever shipped. It's 160 pixels per inch. Highest we've ever shipped. It's gorgeous. And on the front, there's only one button down there. We call it the home button. It takes you home from wherever you are. And that's it. Let's take a look at the side. It's really thin. It's thinner than any smartphone out there. at 11.6 millimeters, thinner than the Q, thinner than the Blackjack, thinner than all of them. It's really nice. And we got some controls on the side. We got a little switch for ring and silent. We've got a volume up and down control. Let's look at the back. On the back, the biggest thing of note is we got a 2-megapixel camera built right in. The other side, and we're back on the front. So let's take a look at the top now. We've got a headset jack, 3.5 millimeter. All your iPod headphones fit right in. We've got a little tray for your SIM card. And we've got one switch for sleep and wake. Just push it to go to sleep, push it to wake up. Let's take a look at the bottom. We've got a speaker, we've got a microphone, and we've got our 30-pin iPod connector. So that's the bottom. Now, we've also got some stuff you can't see. We've got 3 really advanced sensors built into this phone. The first one is a proximity sensor. It senses when physical objects get close. So when you bring iPhone up to your ear to take a phone call, it turns off the display and it turns off the touch sensor instantly. Well, why do you want to do that? Well, 1, to save battery, but 2, so you don't get spurious inputs from your face into the touchscreen. Just automatically turns them off. Take it away, boom, it's back on. So it's got a proximity sensor built in. It's got an ambient light sensor as well. We sense the ambient lighting conditions and adjust the brightness of the display to match the ambient lighting conditions. Again, better user experience, saves power. And the third thing we've got is an accelerometer, so that we can tell when you switch from portrait to landscape.
And this is a clip of the whole product launch. And if you have time, you can spend more time to review this Apple product introduction. And this is our topic today. It's about a new product. And every company needs a product, and there are always a lot of variables that can influence the product life cycle. So here I list 5 factors that is related to marketing mix. The first one is the competition. Now you almost find yourself drenched in so many commercial advertisements, and there are so many products that you can choose from, and this brings the companies a big challenge. That is, you are always faced with competition from outside, and the competition is getting more and more intense. The second is product itself. In a product life cycle, it looks like a converted U-curve, and as time goes by, the product increases and then decreases. That is a general process. And the third one is place. At first, a new product is introduced to the market, and the distribution of this product should be intensive and frequent. But when this product has more competitors or a new product emerges to replace it, then it begins to decline. And the fourth one is promotion, and the change of promotion is also like a curve. And this curve is influenced by competition and place. The last one is price. It moves towards more price cutting and dealing. And to analyze a product, we have a useful tool. It is called Boston Matrix. So the Boston Matrix is a method for classifying products based on their current value and future value. So the current value can be measured by a market share, and the future value can be measured by market growth. So which is why it is also called the growth share matrix. So there are 2 ways to increase revenue, increase market share or sustain market share in a growing market. Both market share and market growth are hence important measures. So the matrix is often shown as a 2 multiplied 2 grid, but can be plotted on scale graph where actual measurements are used rather than a qualitative assessment. So the market share axis usually has low on the right and rather than the left. And by this matrix, we can get 4 types of products. And here I can give you a more specific example about how to use this matrix to position your products. So we have 4 types of products. The first type is dogs. Dogs are products where both market share is low and market growth is also low. So should you let sleeping dogs lie or terminate them? So for streamlining and simplification, it would seem logical to just get rid of dogs. Yet if they incur low costs and give high profits per sale, then they may be worth keeping. So there may be other reasons for keeping dogs, including if they are important to a major customer who spends a lot in other areas, or they are a part of a complete product line, or there is a potential to increase market share for them, or there is potential for the market to grow, so you may consider keeping these dogs products. And another type is cash cows. Cash cows are the profitable products where a good market share is combined with a stable market that needs only a limited amount of marketing and product development to sustain a strong revenue stream. So cash cows are a major source of funding for other products, and the funds created may be used to develop new products and grow market share in order to create the cash cows on the future. So there is a trap with cash cows, where a company keeps these profitable products but does not use the profits from them to develop new products or grow market share of other offerings. In this way, marketing and development costs can apparently be kept very low. So the result is that the company is very profitable for a while, but when the market fades or competition increases, so the company does not have the ability or newer products with which to compete, and its survival may even be threatened. So another problem is that when markets fade, and cash cows slip into becoming dogs, so their past glory continues within the company. The firm may be loath to kill off the old dog and may yet pump large amounts of money into attempts to revive it, so further weakening their market position. And the third type is stars. Stars are the exciting and promising new products that are getting a lot of attention. So a fast-growing market, coupled with a strong share of that market, makes these interesting both for customers and for the company. So the only problem with stars is that they usually consume a lot of time, money, and other resources, which can be the detriment of other products. So as a result of this, although many are being sold, the product may not yet be independently profitable. So a growing market does not necessarily mean a big market, and it is possible to have stars where there are not that many being sold. So a critical question is how large the market is going to become. Some markets do grow significantly, yet others remain small. So while being a big fish is nice, if the pond is small, the potential also may be very limited. So for reasons such as this, sometimes it is better not to invest in stars. And the goal with many stars is to convert them into cash cows as the market stabilizes. So if the market is going to become large enough and stable enough, then it can be worth investing significantly in stars to keep their leading position and shut out serious competitors. And the last type of these four products is question marks. And as the name implies, question marks are perhaps the most difficult of all categories to manage, and they are in high growth markets, which is promising, yet they only have a small share of that market. So question marks do not stay that way. They either become stars and then cash cows, or they slip back to become dogs. So the question for question marks is whether it is worth putting money into marketing them to increase market share. The next questions are about how much further the market will grow and realistic chances of growing share with this. So question marks are also known as problem children. This type illustrates well how personally products are perceived within a company and the dilemma of difficult decisions that may have to be made about them. So this is about Boston Matrix. It's quite helpful to categorize your products into 4 types. And now let's move to the main part of this chapter. It is about new product development, and it covers the complete process of bringing a new product to market. And the companies developed continuous practices and strategies to better satisfy customer requirements and to increase their own market share by a regular development of new products. The process of new product development is also a process of transforming a market opportunity to product available for sale. And products include tangible ones and intangible ones. So that is to say, some companies that provide services, their products are intangible. And then the question is how to develop a new product successfully. So there are many uncertainties and challenges which companies must face throughout the process, and a good understanding of customer needs and wants, of the competitive environment, and of the nature of the market represents the top required factor for the success of a new product. And again, the example of Cola Wars. So the failure of Coca-Cola in the early stage of Cola War is a kind of ignoring consumers' demands and wants. So NPD, new product development, is a systematic issue within a company, and there is a framework for companies to follow when developing new products. So we have a series of stages from idea generation to market introduction, and every stage is important and should be monitored and handled by the company. So generally, the more complex the product, and the more complex the NPD process and the management system. And here is a schematic diagram about NPD decision process. So that is about if you choose or not to develop a new product. So it looks kind of complicated, and you should focus on the 8 steps or stages of developing a new product. So first is idea generation, and then idea screening, which is about the consistency between product idea and company objective. And the third stage is concept development and testing. So it brings the question, can we find a good concept consumers say they would try? And next stage is marketing strategy development. This step can help us to find a cost-effective way to plan the whole marketing operations. And the fifth stage is business analysis. So this is along with the process of marketing plan. And the next stage is product development, which can help us transform the concept into reality. The 7th stage is market testing, which can help us figure out that if the product sales have met expectations. And the last stage, commercialization. It is the real operation of promoting the product into the real target market. Okay, now let's go through these 8 stages one by one. And the first is idea generation. The process starts with the search for ideas. And some experts believe the greatest opportunities and the highest leverage with new products are found by uncovering the best possible set of unmet customer needs or technological innovation. And then idea screening. We need to screen out poor ideas early because product development costs rise substantially with each successive development stage. So most companies require new product ideas to be described on a standard form for a new product committee's review. So reviews each idea against criteria such as does the product meet a need and offer superior value, and can it be distinctively advertised, and does the company have the necessary know-how and capital? Will the new product deliver the expected sales volume, sales growth, and profit? So, and next, this stage is about concept, so which is a generalization of product idea. And you should know that a product idea is a possible product that a company might offer to the market. And the concept about a product is an elaborated version of the idea expressed in consumer terms. So that is to say, a product concept is about how you want to deliver your product idea to your consumers. So this is the first step of connecting with your consumers. That's why this part is quite important for a marketer. And then how can we develop a product concept from a product idea? A product idea can be turned into several concepts by asking these questions like who will use this product, what primary benefit should it provide, and when will people consume or use it. And by answering these questions, a company can form several concepts and then select the most promising concept and create a product positioning map for it, just like the example here in the right side. It's about a product in a breakfast market. And then the product concept is turned into a brand concept. So to transform the low-cost instant breakfast drink concepts into a brand concept, the firm must decide how much to charge and how calorific to make the drink. So this is the example I can give you. And in the past, creating physical prototypes was costly and time-consuming. But today, firms can use rapid prototyping to design products on the computer and then produce through models to show potential consumers for their reactions. So this is the stage of concept testing. And today, with the help of high technology, companies are also using virtual reality to test product concepts. For example, respondents are shown different hypothetical offers formed by combining varying levels of the attributes. Then they are asked to rank the various offers. So management can identify the most appealing offer and its estimated market share and profit. So note that the most customer appealing offer is not always the most profitable offer for the firm. And after this is virtual reality that can help companies to concept test. And after concept testing, now we go to this very important stage, which is also emphasized in former classes, marketing strategy development. After a successful concept testing, the firm drafts a preliminary three-part strategy for introducing a new product. And the first strategy is to describe the target market size, structure, and behavior. So the planned product positioning and the sales, market share, and profit goals sought in the first few years. And then the company should outline the planned price, distribution strategy, and marketing budget for the first year. And the last one is to describe the long-run sales and profit goals and marketing mix strategies over time. So this plan forms the basis for the next step, the business analysis. And now business analysis. So this is quite necessary. And we need to evaluate the proposed product's business attractiveness by preparing sales, cost, and profit projections to determine whether they satisfy company objectives. And if we find the answer is yes, the concept can move to the development stage. As new information comes in, the business analysis will undergo revision and expansion. And after so many steps, we finally get there. And before this stage, the product has existed only as a word description, a drawing, or a prototype. So the company will determine whether the product idea can translate into a technically and commercially feasible product. Generally, the first step of this stage is to translate target consumers' requirements into a working prototype. And we can use QFD, Qualified Function Deployment, to help us. And this methodology takes the list of desired customer attributes generated by market research and turns them into a list of engineering attributes that engineers can use. For example, customers of a proposed truck may want a certain acceleration rate, and engineers can turn this into the required horsepower and other engineering equivalents, and QFD improves communication between marketers, engineers, and manufacturing people. And after the translation, then we need R&D department to help develop a prototype that embodies the key attributes in the product. And performs safely under normal use and conditions. And then there are two rounds of testing called alpha testing and beta testing. And the former one tests the product within the firm to see how it performs in different applications, and the latter one asks consumers to test in many forms, including bringing consumers into a laboratory to giving them samples to use at home, and so on. And finally, a product is not something abstract or just a concept. We can put them to the market and have a real test in the market. So it means the product is ready to be branded with the name, logo, and package, and go into a market test. But this stage is not a necessity in all the companies. And marketing testing is just like magnified testing of beta testing. And still, it can bring a lot of benefits. For example, the company can observe how much interest buyers show in a new product, and how they react to various features, and how many express purchase intentions or place orders. And here I would like to spend more time on how we can conduct market testing. Generally, we have four typical methods for market testing, as listed in this page below. The first way to conduct market testing is sales wave research. It means that consumers who initially tried the product at no cost are reoffered it, or a competitor's product at slightly reduced prices. And the offer may be made as many as 5 times, while the company knows how many customers select it again and their reported level of satisfaction. The second one is simulated test marketing. So here I can give you an example about this method. Think about this. 30 to 40 qualified shoppers are asked about brand familiarity and preferences in a specific product category, and attend a brief screening of ads. And the consumers receive a small amount of money and are invited into a store to shop. And then the firm knows how many buy the new brand and the competing brands and ask consumers why they bought or did not buy. So those who did not buy the new item are given a free sample and are re-interviewed later to determine attitudes, usage, satisfaction, and repurchase intention. So this is relatively more complicated and costly. The third method is controlled testing marketing, and this looks more professional. Generally, we need a research firm to deliver the product to a panel of participating stores and controls shelf position, pricing, and number of facings, displays, and point of purchase promotions to test sales. So this method can help us to learn the impact of local advertising and determine customers' impressions of the product. The last one is test markets. So this method is quite practical and is often used in real marketing situations, especially of those big companies. Generally, the company chooses a few representative cities, sells the trade on carrying a product, and puts on a full marketing communications campaign in those markets. So the difficult part of this method is that marketers must decide on the number of test cities, the test duration, and the data to be collected. At the conclusion, they must decide what action to take. So this requires more competencies from marketers. And now we finally move to the last stage of new product development, decision process, commercialization. This stage needs most energy, most money, and most human capital. So this is the real war after so many preparations. The market timing is critical. So if a firm learns that a competitor is ready to introduce a new product, so it can choose first entry or late entry to confront with its competitors. And first entry means being the first to market, locking up key distributors and customers, and gaining a leadership advantage, although this can backfire if the product hasn't been thoroughly debugged. And late entry means delaying until after the competitor has borne the cost of educating the market and reviewed problems to avoid. Or you can choose the third way, a parallel entry, so it means launching at the same time as the competitor may gain both products more attention. And moreover, because new product launches often take longer and cost more than expected, so to coordinate the many tasks in launching a new product, management can use network planning techniques such as critical path scheduling, which uses a master chart showing the simultaneous and sequential activities that must take place. So by estimating how much time each activity takes, planners can estimate project completion time. So, and of course, any delay in an activity on a critical path will delay the whole project. And since we have talked about new product development decision process, now we are going to learn a new product development process structure. And generally, we have 4 phases about NPD process structure. The first one is fuzzy front end. So it's the starting point where opportunities are identified and the concepts are developed prior to entering the formal product development process. So this phase is about idea genesis, opportunity validation, and concept development. And it is the point where decisions to invest resources are fundamentally made. And about this phase, we also have 5 generic steps. And it is clear that these 5 steps are not often conducted in absolute order. So the first step is preliminary analysis. This step includes analysis about high-level market, technology, and industry assessments. And we also should know the difference between this analysis and market research. The second step is demand refinement. This step focuses on customers to refine their demands and wants specifically. And the next step is translational research. It includes building prototypes and performing continued research in related domains designed to demonstrate a key aspect of an otherwise early-stage technology. And the fourth step, it is technology discovery and development. It includes locating early-stage technologies, external or internal, and testing potential minimum viable product concepts. And sometimes we can conduct this step by collecting feedback from customers. And the last step is portfolio analysis and triage. It includes an examination of each potential innovation with criteria that differ substantially from the numerical analysis required by a formal process. So the main goal of the portfolio analysis is to prioritize potential innovations and ask questions designed to increase understanding of the concept. And then product design. So this phase is the development of both the high-level and the detail level design of the product, so which turns the what of the requirements into a specific how this particular product will meet those requirements. And then the product implementation phase. Product implementation is the phase of detailed engineering design of mechanical or electrical hardware, or the software engineering of software or embedded software, or design of soft goods or other product forms. So, as well as of any test process that may be used to validate that the prototype objects actually meet the design specification and the requirement specification that was previously agreed to. And the last phase, fuzzy backend, it is also called commercialization. So it represents the action steps where the production and market launch occur. And now let's have a look at MPD strategy. So it's about generally we have 4 basic strategies for new product development. And the first is risk strategy. So it means to invest all the resource into a single new product. So, and if it is successfully conducted, then there is a high likelihood that you become the market leader. But once it fails, you may have nothing left. So this strategy is suitable for a big company with strong technology innovation ability. And the second strategy is aggressive strategy. It means a company puts some resource into MPD and keeps some resource as standby. And using this strategy, you can help your company to increase market share through new product development. And the third one is follow-up strategy. And this requires you to imitate new product to keep development. And the advantage of this strategy is low cost and a low level of innovation, but it also means that you cannot become the market leader. The last strategy is defensive strategy. It is the opposite of aggressive strategy. The objective of this strategy is to maintain survival by new product, and so it is suitable for SMEs which don't have anti-risk abilities. And I would also like to introduce some knowledge about MPD method. Here are at least 5 common methods. First, for example, independent R&D. This requires long-term investment and it has a huge cost. Generally, you can only find this in a big company. Or technology import. This is quite often, especially you don't have the ability to invest R&D. And another way to do this is to cooperate with others, like research institution or university. So it is quite common in SMEs. If you still remember, the brand logo of Nike was a result of this. And MPD contract or patent purchase is for companies who want to save time and introduce products as soon as possible. But the disadvantage of these two methods are you don't have your own core competitive advantages. And at last, I would spend more time on this issue. How to promote a new product after all the steps of a new product development process. So here I can give some tips or suggestions around this topic. The first is to offer promotional products. So the majority of people who love freebies, and creating an event at which you give away products is more likely to draw customers that might not otherwise have been interested. And in addition, a promotional event creates an opportunity for you to send out a press release about the event as well as the product, and thus utilize the local media outlets such as newspapers and news programs for getting the word to the public. And another way is about ordering printed promotional material that shares information about the products. A printed promotional material can range from simple flyers to more elaborate pamphlets that detail product specifications. Or you can try this to create a sample size of products and offer them to those who can review the products and offer feedback or a positive response. Focus on sending the samples to those with credibility in the industry, such as professionals or experts whose feedback will have more effect on convincing customers to try the product. And at last, this is also a good way to promote new products by collecting testimonials from customers who have used and enjoyed the product. Testimonials can be a powerful tool for convincing potential customers to take the plunge because they create the link between customers who trust the opinions of others like themselves. Suppose, for instance, that you have designed and are marketing a new range of hand lotion. Testimonials from customers can be powerful for persuading others to pass by more familiar names to use your product. And so these tips are for how to promote a new product. And okay, that's all about today's lesson, chapter 9. And we still have one chapter to go, and just hang in there. If you have any question or problems, please contact me by WeChat or email. So see you next week.